So we are on the way to meet Max and Dude, and what I'm going to be working on is reintroducing more leash pressure to sharpen up his loose leash walk. Along with that, I am going to be overlaying e-collar pressure into the loose leash walk, and then hopefully also start implementing more duration into commands. One of the big things for Max is that he really enjoys having a recall for Dude, but I need duration in commands first. In order to practice recall, because that's the way that I do recall. So, yeah, here we go. He still walks pretty good.
Until he has little.
Until that. Hey, buddy.
You see this thing?
Yeah. What's up, bud?
Because he knows you have treats.
I'm the treat lady. I'm the treat lady. Sit. Good. Yeah. He's like, heck yeah, we'll work for treats.
I remember the sit. Yes, good.
Yeah. Yeah. Game plan is I'm going to reintroduce him to leash pressure. That will help with just everything in general. And then I'm going to overlay the e-collar on top of that, so he has further understanding of what the e-collar means, because for what we are trying to accomplish, he really needs to have a good understanding of what the e-collar sensation means, what it's coming from, how to turn it on, how to turn it off, all that good stuff. And then hopefully, if he does really well with the loose leash walking with leash pressure, which I think he will, we will then start putting duration into commands and start teaching him how to stay again. It'll probably be pretty easy to do. So that way we can start working on recall from there. But he has to have duration in commands first. So what I'm gonna do, pop a leash onto him, and then we are going to just go for a walk. So first things first, what we are going to be doing is we are going to be reintroducing leash pressure to Dude. Help with some of these different distractions as well. And we are going to be overlaying e-collar pressure on top of that. Earlier today, I reintroduced the e-collar utilizing the climb command. We worked on some duration climb as well, but we're going to be overlaying that into our walk to teach him pressure on, pressure off. So that way we can also start to teach him how to have duration or stay in command, and that will then help us with our recall as well. So here we go. Alrighty guys, so we are going to be reintroducing loose leash walking for Dude. So when it comes to loose leash walking, the really big thing that's important is that if you want your dog to relax next to your side in what we call a structured walk, or the heel position, is that you cannot drag your dog back to you, you can only slack your dog back to you, okay? So what that means is that dogs are about pressure on and pressure off. So the 3 different drills that I'm going to be doing is going to be my 180-degree right hand turns over my right shoulder. I'm going to be doing left hand turns and using my spatial pressure to mold him into the position that I want. I'm going to be doing figure 8s, and then I guess 4 different drills. When I start walking in a straight line, if he's maintaining that position, I am then going to start doing pace changes, which means maybe I will walk at a brisk pace, and then for no reason, I will suddenly really slow it down a little bit. And this helps really keep the dog really checked into what I'm doing. I want the dog to track my left leg, right? And this provides a lot of mental stimulation for the dog, something that an unstructured walk or a decompression walk does not provide. So I'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with my 180-degree turns. After he starts to show some fluency in this, that is when I will then introduce the e-collar pressure on top of that for further understanding of pressure on, pressure off. So we'll go ahead and get started. Ready, bud? Heel. Alrighty, so I'm gonna right turn over my right shoulder. He gets ahead. Pressure comes on a little bit on the leash. He gets ahead, pressure comes on, he turns around, pressure comes off. Good job. And this is very light pressure. Like I'm really using just fingertip pressure with him. I'm not trying to give really hard pops on the leash or anything like that. Every single time that he starts to get ahead, that's my signal to turn. Turn, pressure, pressure off. Turn, good boy. In front, pressure on, pressure off. Good job, buddy. See, that time I didn't have to use any pressure. He's starting to know the name of the game. Good boy. All right. I come to a stop, sit. Good boy, good job. Alrighty, so the next thing that I'm gonna start doing is I'm gonna start molding that heel position a little bit more with my left hand turns, all right? So I'll go ahead and show you how it's done. The function, or how you should be doing this, is watch what my left arm is doing. As I start to mold him with my spatial pressure of where my body is, I'm going to be giving slight pressure on, pressure off, kind of like a pulsing or a tapping through the leash as my communication of where he should be in that heel position, all right? So I'll go ahead, show you how it's done. Heel, good boy. So left hand turn, pulse leash, there we go. Left hand turn, pulse leash, left hand turn. And each time that I feel like I'm about to run into him, I'm simply communicating through the leash, through that pulsing. And now I can put in my right hand turn on top of it. Good job. Adding a lot of speed and movement also helps your dog as well. Now, if you're working with a prong collar at home, these are the exact same drills that you can do. Sit. Good. The exact same drills that you can do, and the same principles apply. If you're working with a prong collar at home, do not drag your dog back to you. The prong collar was designed as an annoyance tool of opening and closing. So make sure that you are slacking your dog back to you, and you're using that, no, sit. You're using that pulsing on the leash or those taps on the leash to be able to communicate to your dog. So in this instance, if we have a distraction here, if he were to break the command because I did give him a sit, I would just simply mark no. I would use my leash pressure to communicate to him that he needs to be replaced back into that sit. But doing pretty good. Still pretty distracted, but overall, pretty good. Alrighty. So now what I'm going to do, now that I see that he has a little bit more fluency of what it is that I am looking for, with him just tracking where my body movement is, I have value to him and where my physical presence is, I am now going to overlay the e-collar on top of that. And the same thing is what I'm going to be doing. But instead of using the leash, I am now going to use e-collar pressure. I have my tone box set up, so that way every single time that I introduce pressure to him, then you guys can hear when I am utilizing the e-collar. So I'm going to still do those same different drills, but this time I'm going to first use leash and the e-collar at the same time, and then I'm going to slowly start phasing the leash out from working with loose leash walking. One thing to note is that I don't recommend getting rid of the leash too early because the e-collar is not directional. The leash is one of our only training tools that is directional. So if the dog has any confusion while you're working with the e-collar, it can be really hard to get them to do what it is that you want to do. So first things first, I want to find his reactionary level to the e-collar. And the way that I'm going to do this is that I'm going to start on a level 2 on the e-collar, and I'm going to give a quick tap tap and then go up from there until I see some sort of physical reaction from Dude. I'm going to take that number, whatever it may be, he gets to decide the number, and that's the number that I'm going to be using with our loose leash walking. Alrighty, so starting on level 2 and then just work my way up. There we go, awesome. So level 5. For those of you working with loose leash walking at home, if your dog is very highly overstimulated and over-aroused by the environment, adding another stimulus such as food can actually amp up your dog even more. So yes, while it is important to use food in our training as much as possible, especially during the learning phase, sometimes it can actually be a detriment to your work. So just wanted to throw that tidbit right in there. Heel. Good. Alrighty, first up is going to be our 180-degree turns and just overlaying that pressure on top of it. Alrighty, so each time that I make that turn, I'll go ahead. Good boy. No tap needed there. He's getting ahead. to turn. Good boy. Good job. Good job, buddy. Getting ahead, turn. Good boy. Left hand turns. And as we walk closer to Dad, he's going to be more and more distracted. Good boy, bud. Do you understand, like, when I'm tapping, so every single time that I turn but he doesn't follow with me? Good boy. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sit. Good. Sit. Good boy. Very nice. Heel. Good boy. Sit. Dude. Dude. Waiting for eye contact. Yeah, there we go. That's when you know you have a good understanding of the e-collar. When I move out of the way and then when I tap it, it was like, oh, hey, where'd you go? So I'm also tapping for each time that he's like overly invested into a distraction, because this is pretty much like my communication tool to him, of just like a tap on the shoulder of like, hey, like, I'm over here. Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah, good boy. Yay! Good job, buddy. Come on, come on. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Sit. Good boy, look at you. Break. Yay! Good job, come on. Good job, buddy. All right, cool. All right, guys, so we worked with the e-collar and introducing that e-collar pressure of pressure on, pressure off. And now I want to start implementing a lot more duration into his commands. So far, honestly, he's been pretty good with duration, but there's a level of distraction there and not a lot of engagement. Like right now, he's not engaged into what it is that I'm doing. No, sit. You get pets because you don't like my treats. And so just like right now, when he broke the sit, the process of how I am going to communicate to him of like, hey, no, dude, you got to go back into that position, is that once he understands the e-collar, he understands the position and what it is that I want. Should he break that position without the release command break, I am going to say no. I'm going to tap on the e-collar. Right now, just his reactionary level of a level 5 out of 100. And then I'm going to recommand again the command that I needed. So for example, if I say sit and he sits and then he breaks the sit, I am going to say no. I'm going to tap on the e-collar, and then I am going to recommand sit. Should he need physical guidance, for example, the leash into the sit, I will provide that. Once he sits, I will mark good, and then I will reward. And we're going to start with the sit first because that one is a pretty solid position. And what I'm going to do is some of the duration drills that I do is I'm going to do 45 degrees from the dog. I'm going to come back to center. I'm going to mark good. I am going to reward. And then from there, I am then going to go a little bit further around the dog, come back around, mark good, and then reward. And then I'm just going to make my way around the dog as they are in that position. I want to come back in and intermittently reinforce that position so that way I'm communicating to him of like, hey man, I like that behavior, please continue to do that. So I want to give feedback to the dog consistently. Normally I would use food, but he's given me the huge middle finger for my dehydrated beef treats, so affection it is. Good job, buddy. Sit. Good. Good boy. Break. Good job, bud. Come. Good. Sit. Good boy. Good job. No, sit. Good boy. No. Good boy. I always like his thinking paw. When he's thinking. Break! Yay! Good boy, buddy! Yeah! Good boy! Alrighty. Good job, bud. Alrighty. Now we're going to try it with the down. With the down, I don't put too much pressure on the dog, especially if I don't have a relationship built. And this is the first time in a year that me and Dude have been working together. So if this is something that I really need to nurture, I will totally take my time with it, but I kind of want to gauge and see where he's at present moment. We'll wait for these distractions to go by because that's kind of unfair. Sit. Good. Down. Good boy, very good, buddy. Yeah. So same process, if he were to break the down, I'm just going to say no, and then tap the e-collar, recommand down, and help him into that should he need it. Good. You're such a good boy. No. Down. Good job. Good boy. Break. Yay! Good job, dude! Good job! Sit. Good boy. Very good. Alrighty guys, so that is it for this first lesson with Dude. Hope you guys picked up some interesting things. Leave your questions in the comments below. And if you haven't liked this video, go ahead and do that right now. And while you're at it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well.